So I just had the health inspector out for the septic system, and we had two issues, nothing too significant. He wanted me to readjust the sanitary tees in the septic tank, and he wanted more straw. The first issue the inspector had was the location of my sanitary tee. This fitting right here is called a sanitary tee or a sand tee, and I had it positioned out about right here, and he wanted it further back in there for a couple of reasons. He said they're prone to breaking off, as well as it makes it easier to pump when they have to be pumped. So because of the rubber bushing, it was quite easy to just push that pipe out. Now on this side, same thing. He wanted it further back in there, so I had to disconnect the distribution box down there and cut 16 inches out and slide it in. So that was the first issue that he had with the septic system. The second issue he had was with the straw. He wanted more straw. So straw is super cheap. I chose to use straw versus plastic or landscaping fabric because number one, it's way cheaper. I think it's better. I think it aerates better. That 900-pound bale was 20 bucks. So I threw a whole bunch of excess straw in there, and that was it. He was good to go. He was happy with the depth. He was happy with the location. I didn't have any issues, and I was anticipating having some issues, so I'm glad it went as well as it did. So I took care of those things. Now I need to backfill this tank, and this tank requires a special way to backfill it to really preserve its integrity and make sure it lasts as long as it can. And we're going to do it in 12-inch layers, and I'm not going to completely backfill it. I'll get it up to the lid, because when the inspector comes out and looks at the next two leach fields, he wants to still be able to measure for the tank. And so I'm going to go ahead and backfill. The manufacturer specifies a couple things when it comes to backfilling this plastic tank. Norwesco, the company, said first and foremost, fill it. Fill the tank as full as you can get it. You can see in one of my earlier videos where I pumped water up here to fill the tank up. So now I know I've got the tank as full as I can get it. So the next step is to, in 12-inch sections, backfill and compact every 12 inches. This ensures that there's not going to be a big settling happen and create problems down the road. I'm going to use the whacker to compress this down real good. You don't necessarily have to use a whacker. You can use one of those manual soil compactors that Home Depot sells, but I know the whacker is going to do a much better job. My buddy Rod let me borrow it, so I prefer to use that. It's much faster, it's much more thorough as well. I had somebody on Facebook say a job like this should take no more than a day. Now, my background, I was a service plumber for over 15 years. I'm a journeyman, pipe fitter, all that fun stuff. I'm a licensed contractor. But my focus was service work. And what that means is I was the guy that came out on a Friday night at 10 o'clock to snake out your sewer line because your septic tank was installed poorly. Now, this is the inlet side of the septic tank. I don't know how many times I've seen where the tanks were not properly compacted, and especially with concrete tanks where they settled and this pipe either sheared off or created a significant belly that caused the water the solids to back up right here. This spot right here is the most common place with a septic system to have flow issues, I would say. The other side of the pipe is equally as important. So these are the places that I'm going to take my time. I spent probably close to 2 days just getting grade. I intend on living on this property the rest of my life, and I don't want to fight some of these battles that I dealt with as a contractor for many years. So while a licensed septic tank installer may be able to do a job like this in a day, I wasn't after that. I wanted to oversee and make sure everything was done in such a way that I was never going to have issues. You know, I could have subcontracted this out and spent a bunch of money on it and gotten it done quite a bit faster. But again, that's not entirely what I'm after. Sometimes doing what we're doing up here is just going to take longer, more time naturally than subcontracting it. And the good news is I will know for a fact that things are installed and installed properly. And I've even done things, as far as my background is concerned, I've done things that I know will make our lives easier down the road. I've got ideas for both the shop house and the house that I hope to do to incorporate some old stuff that I've hauled around for years. I've got a toilet, over 100-year-old toilet, that I've hauled around for probably 15 years looking for the right home to install it in. And this is definitely the place to put it in. So while there's definitely faster ways to do things, fast is not always the best. And while I wish I was framing on my shop, I'll get to it. You know, the time will come.
I know you showed me your affection, but I was looking for perfection. So I moved on and on and on to someone new, as if no one knew what I was going through. I know you think I'm just pretending, and that I can't rewrite the ending, but to move on and on and on to someone new isn't how you find the one that I am through with playing games. You are not just a flavor of the day. This time you are more than a flavor of the day. I know you don't know what to expect, but I'm sure that if I just kept moving on and on and on to someone new, I would have never understood that I had you. Who gave it all?